Now presenting Mr. Mike Coyne, Governor's Hurricane Conference Board member representing the National Weather Service.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our next award is the Tropical Meteorology Award. It's presented to an individual or organization that has made outstanding or substantial contributions to the advancement and knowledge, application, or understanding of the hurricane forecasting and warning process in the state of Florida. Since 2004, Mr. Mike Boylan has been educating people about trends, model runs, and everything else tropical weather related through his website. He does not forecast, but his dedication and contributions to the citizens of Florida and providing tropical weather information in layman's terms, helping to explain what the forecast trends mean and how to follow all the extensive maps, charts, and graphs located on his website, Mike's weather page, aka spaghettymodels.com. The 2021 Tropical Meteorology Award goes to Mike Boylan of Mike's weather page.
Just click on Mike's page, Trump Doggy Nation. Well, there'll always be some haters. They don't understand. Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend, Mike, he's your man. And he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, it's Monday. What's up, world? Been a few days. It's going to be even longer. This is our wacky 2 weeks ahead as we head to Panama City Beach for a few days for my good buddies at the Gulf Coast Jam, Mark and Rindy. I'm heading north later here in a couple hours. We're going to be hanging out with all the good folks in the Panama City Beach area. So if you're at the concert, come on by, look for us. Don't be afraid to say hey. The family will be there, and we'd love to hang out with you. I'll be in the Jim Beam tent several days, so that'll be trip number one. And then we got our Mike's Weather Page 4th annual cruise next Monday. So things will be back to normal soon. We'll be posting weather 24/7 as always. I just won't be doing any scheduled daily brews unless the tropics wake up, which we might have a little something. So, all right. So who am I? We got some new folks always chiming in. We're going to get into all that. It is Memorial Day. I know a lot of folks probably aren't watching us as they are doing things, but we definitely want to start out with that graphic. That's my favorite one. We put it on the cover every year. But today we honor and remember all those that sacrificed making this country what it is today and enabling me to do what I love. So, special day. We have a lot of MWPs, I'm sure, that have family members that were lost in military over the years. So this is a day for them as we celebrate freedom. What's my buddy Cletus say? Now that he's a big Eagle guy, what does Cletus say about the Eagle? Freedom Factory. Cletus didn't make a lot of friends this week. He spun the tires in the ARCA race and crashed some cars, but heck, they've all done it. I couldn't believe he hung on to it. And my boy Kyle Larson almost survived Indy. He looked like he had that car saved, and then he clipped that car on the outside. I was rooting for Kyle Larson. But anyway, we do have Tropics to talk about. I can't believe it. Season officially starts in 1 week, June the 1st, Sunday. So 7 days from now, tropical season begins. Are you ready? I hope you got to listen to that little intro. That intro means a lot to me. 2021, I won the Tropical Meteorology Award. Means a lot to me because, you know, it was voted on by industry professionals, meteorologists, Natural Weather Service. A lot of folks in the industry had to vote yes on Mike Boylan being Tropical Meteorology Award winner. And that was 21. That was before Ian, Nicole, Ida that year. We had... obviously, you know, last season. So that was before things seemed like they've been really busy. So it means a lot. You know, we get a lot of new folks on there that believe what they read. And, you know, the people love the word fearmonger and hyper. And I see it everywhere now. And, of course, people that don't know me associate our page with that, too. So... if you think that and you watch us, that's fine. But don't make an assumption based on not even following us here at Mike's Weather page, because that's the least that I try to do is hype. I do like to talk long-range tropics. Always will be doing that. That's what started my page. That's what my love was, looking at long-range modeling, looking at weather patterns. That's what we do. That's not hype. There's going to be weather before you know it. I mean, you can't hide from hurricane season, tornado season, any season. The weather, we're always going to have weather. So talking about the potential is not hyping the inevitable that you know weather's coming. You know, I just don't think a lot of folks read enough of the contacts. You know, sloppy rainmaker no matter what is not a Cat 5 hurricane in the Caribbean. When I say low pressure, it does not mean a Cat 5 hurricane. Low pressures are part of weather. Low pressures bring rain. And that's what we got brewing here possibly in the Western Caribbean in a week. We got a tropical wave coming around. We got this MJO thing. So we're going to talk about it. Not once. You can read between, you know, what the context of the posts say generally should make things easier to understand. I hope. I've tried so hard on the messaging. So, but hey, I don't care. We got enough fans. You know, it just makes me laugh. But anyway, Memorial Day today, and we hope you have a safe day out there, and it's definitely crazy on the water. So my suggestion is stay off the water, because I heard yesterday was unbelievable. Phil went out and said it was an absolute zoo. But thank you, Nessa. We're going to say hello to a few minutes. Bunch of mornings. Naya from 2009, thank you for following that long. Thea Badu, Louisiana, how the hell do you say that? I have no idea. Thibodau. Thibodau. All right, how do y'all pronounce Thibodaux? Is it Thibodau? Thibodeau? I have no idea what the heck. James, appreciate that, James. Good morning, Karen. Southern Ohio, good morning. George, you get a lot of weather up there in Southern Ohio. A lot of tornadoes the last couple of years. Big shout out to my brew crewers. Carla Brown, good morning. Mike Soul. Putting up the shutters. Judy, how's Texas going? So. Thibodeau. There you go. Thibodeau. Yeah, you both know it. We got two people telling me how to say it. All right. Lou, thank you for that. Thibodeau. Hopefully I won't forget. Donald, they made it to Hawaii. Oh, that's a good trip. Good to hear. Katie from Mexico. Man, we got people from all over the world. Nobody from Florida. What's up, Brent Reeves? Morning. Rockledge. Been a lot of hail over there. What about this hail we've been having? My goodness. It's like Midwest-style hail in Florida the last couple of days. Anyway, well, it is a holiday. Big shout out to our good friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. We'll be stopping by the Panama City Beach location here tomorrow. I already got my Jim Beam packed up, ready to go. Be hanging out with Jim Beam folks at Gulf Coast Jam. Brought my sunshine, my pineapple, and the black, the dark aged barrel, darker, 87 proof. But we're gonna try the pineapple in the sunshine. So anyway, if you're in Florida, give a big shout out to ABC. We love them to death. Here's kind of my world last week, and then we're going to get into weather. I was up in Wisconsin, as you probably saw. The weather posts don't get nothing. People like this kind of stuff. But anyway, we were in Wisconsin. Door County, never heard of it. But now it's forever a piece of me because I've met so many locals up there, heard so many stories. Reading your all's comments, I was very fortunate to say I visited Door County and had a great time in Wisconsin. Snowmobile crossings, silos, barns, cow beer. I didn't know that was a thing, but my God, everybody had 5 million people say go get a cow beer. So I did. It was great. And I guess the story of it's even better. You know, family run, local Wisconsin. And of course, cheese curds. So it was a fun trip. So I just want to get out. That's where I was. All right, what else we got? Let's put this little satellite on. Then we're going to talk weather. We do got tropics to talk about. Cheese curds are yummy, Nessa, yes. But anyway, tropical season's going to be here before you know it in a week. So one more time, if you're new to the page, awesome. When it gets down to things being close to reality, you can guarantee that my posts are going to be very informative, hopefully, and a lot of what you can expect and impacts, past experiences to help relay those kind of messages. Early stages of what I do, we look long range. Sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. But that's kind of the fun side of tracking the hurricane season. Believe it or not, that's a part of a lot of folks this summer, including mine. Is like it's a hobby, but you're going to get that. You're going to get a lot of speculation, and if that's a little too much, that's totally understandable. National Hurricane Center puts out a 7-day graphic, and that's pretty darn good. We look beyond 7 days, and probably right about 80%, I would say. So anyway, there's what we're looking at. Here's a bigger, wider scope. What's going on? So all this Pacific stuff's crossed over, and they're going to have a couple storms popping on the Pacific side. Alvin's coming. Alvin. God, everybody. Anyway, Alvin's the first name on the list for the Pacific side. I don't really get into Pacific side storms, just to let you know, because we're usually focused so much on the Atlantic. If there is something that's going to curve back up and to affect people, most of the time the Pacific storms keep on going west. They get a lot of cold water, a lot of upper level wind shear. They usually fizzle out. They usually don't affect anybody, but sometimes they do curve back up, and sometimes they get close to Hawaii. So anytime there's a system out there, you can count on I'll be covering it. But 99% of the time, we won't make a big deal about Pacific names. Everybody makes a big deal about the first name of the season, but the Pacific has their own set of names. Andrea is the Atlantic's first name that we will see, probably. Maybe not. Donald, Bermuda High is kind of getting in place. We got a little front coming down this weekend, interestingly enough, that's going to kind of push it away a little bit. But I suspect it's going to be kind of strong, with a neutral La Nina pattern. So, hey, good morning there, Sean from Massachusetts. Dunellen, Angel Baby. Lee County, another one. We had two there. Knoxville. B. Butcher. Chris from Cape Coral. My good buddy Matt Devitt just had another newborn. So congratulations to my buddy Matt. D up in North Florida. Thank you, Robin. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's talk about the weather. All right, so one more thing. I want to give a big thanks to everybody. This is a picture. USF had that market research last night. A ton of y'all filled it out. It really is awesome. So thank you so much. I didn't expect it to go that popular, but they're putting together a big research study on hurricanes, evacuations, and they thank you very much. I got an email from some head folks at USF that were very thankful that so many people took time to do the survey. So So that was my home. I graduated there, but thank you for that if you guys did that. Tropics, here's that 7-day map I was talking about. Every morning you can go on there. That's on the National Hurricane Center. Big changes this year. The Hurricane Center actually has a 7-day on the front page. They used to have the 2-day on the front page. And I would post a 7-day and talk about an area, and I would get people kind of confused. Like, well, that doesn't make sense because NAC's only, well, now the NAC's putting the 7-day on the front page. So there won't be any confusion. When I'm talking about an area, it's on the National Hurricane Center's page. You don't have to go digging for it. So this is your 7-day map. It goes out until June 1st. Doesn't mean we can't get a circle popping up. It just means in the 7 days from this moment, they don't expect anything to be developed. Now, 2 o'clock, it comes back out again. We can get a circle because they might think 7 days from 2 o'clock. Number one thing I always get is posting a graphic like this, and then tonight there might be a yellow circle. Well, I thought they said no 7, it was 7 days from this morning. Eventually, we got to have a circle sometime. It's just 7 days from this moment in time. And sometimes things pop up even quicker than they expected to. So it's just an important graphic to look at. I keep it on the front page here on my site, obviously. There's a 2-day, the 7-day. I got all kinds of links on here. You got the East Pacific if you're curious. East Pacific, there's our spot over there they're watching. Popped off on the other side now. I got other graphics here. Let me look at it real quick. This is, I don't know. It's the one we're talking about still a week away, so I don't think any of these are going to have it on there yet. So that's expected. But these are informative graphics on the site too that you can look at. And other ones I'll show you later down the road. But anyway, another 7 days. We're going to talk about it. There's an action here in the Pacific side, but let's talk about the local weather, and we'll get into hurricanes. But then I got to go. Door County was awesome, Darren. I had wallach, catching wallach by the lake. I don't know, all summer long. Great song. Gary from Lynn Haven, what's up, buddy? I know where that's at. Home of Michael. Lisa from St. Pete. Bobby from Spring Hill. What's going on? All right, here's storms, real quick. God, you guys are coming in from everywhere. Sandy from Maryland. Awesome. You guys are from everywhere. All right, storms today. We got a draping line of storms here across the south, okay? We're starting to see some dark green on the upper Gulf, even into the Atlantic side. So we got big storms in Texas. But we got a kind of a weather front coming into play here that's going to be kind of pushing these storms out in front. So Wednesday looks like this line is going to go a little farther south. So let me show you. Here's today. Here's tomorrow. Almost a repeat pattern, but we're starting to see a little bit more push south. Storms tomorrow. Moderate, or not moderate. Marginal risk, number 1 out of 5. Yellow, number 2. I have these on my site, too, by the way. If you go to Mike's weather page and scroll down a little bit, here's the Storm Prediction Center maps, and you can always get an idea what these colors mean right here. Everybody always asks me. There they are. They've been there for you to take a look at. So here's tomorrow, Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, that line gets even a little farther south. So there's a frontal line coming. Tuesday, Wednesday is warm. We got upper 90s, very moist dew points. So there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of supercells popping here and there. And then that front comes into play, and we're going to talk about that. Rainfall kind of gives you an idea. We got rain through next Monday. Everybody getting a little bit now, it looks like, right? The Big Bend area, ironically, is the less, and they were the only ones not in a drought about a month ago, so now they're evening out. But there's your heavy rains, the next 7 days. Blue's an inch. So there's a pretty decent chance everybody might get some rain. Rainy season. Blue is 1 inch. So that's a lot, even Florida West Coast. This is going to be a front line coming down through the week. So that's the storyline. Lingering line of rains today, tomorrow, Wednesday with storms. Thursday, the front line gets pushed through. It could be an awesome weekend for a lot of y'all as this line pushes through, meaning drier skies, little cooler temps. So, yeah, we got an actual cold front coming through. And if you're going up there to the Gulf Coast Jam, the weekend might be phenomenal. Dry, cool, crisp, bright blue, clear skies at night, hopefully, with sun or stars. So it's looking very, very good. Thursday's a little iffy, spotty, but that's where we're at. Rainfall kind of shows you what's cooking here today. There's your heavy rains. Tomorrow, rains drop a little farther south. Here's Wednesday, a little bit of flood risk upper Gulf there, and then on Thursday. So that's kind of your rain in a nutshell. Then Friday, the front starts to dip south. So it's going to be a timing tricky thing. Thursday, Friday pushing through here to the south, but this is Friday rains. So there's that. Excited? But I do want to show you this part. This is a kind of an easy way to look at things too. This is let me make it a little smaller here. There we go. All right, so here's today. Hard to see, but there's a stalled out frontal line across the south, bringing these storms, bringing the heat. A little bit of rain across the Florida Peninsula again today. Repeat pattern, deja vu. Tomorrow, Tuesday, there's that line. Same thing. Starting to drop just a little bit. We got a low pressure starting to set up that's going to push it on out of here. This is Tuesday. Look, notice the rain across the Florida Peninsula. A little more rain again. A little more rain. A little more rain. Here's Wednesday. Starting to see that front line setting up. There's your low pressure across Indiana, Illinois there. There's your front line. A little cooler behind it. This is Wednesday. Starting to push all that juice out. Notice that heavy rain across the mid-Atlantic. This is Wednesday. More rains across the upper Gulf Coast. Thursday. There's our line getting that big push. There's your front line Thursday. There's a better rain chance for pretty much everybody across the southeast on Thursday. And then on Friday, when does it push through? That's the question mark. So there's your line Friday morning. Friday night could be passing through a lot of y'all. So Thursday looks rainy in the southeast, south and east. Thursday night it continues to push through. Friday's going to be iffy on how far it gets to the east and to the south. When we get to Saturday, there's your stalled out front line. But notice everybody along the east coast, everybody in the upper Gulf, the front should be clear by then. Might be a little more rain across the peninsula on Saturday, but there's your front line passed through already, and could be pretty nice. There it gets a little push through Saturday evening, Saturday night, and then on Sunday, it's this South Florida now. So you got a front line coming. It's pushing through. This is Saturday night into Sunday, and it should be a beautiful Saturday night, at least for most across the south and east. There's Saturday night right here. So, and then on Sunday, and then the Monday there's your front pushing through. And that's when we're setting sail for us. Could be a little rain. Didn't even think about looking selfishly at us. Because you know what? It doesn't matter. When you're going on a cruise, you don't look at the weather. So that's it. Stormy couple days. Front line pushing through. I do want to look at temperatures real quick and just kind of show you what it's going to look like. And then we'll get into the tropics here. Because there is a little talk about in that world. And I think once we get to June, I won't talk as much about daily weather. Just go all tropics maybe. I don't know. But here's your precipitable water map. It's kind of showing you the dry air coming in. Heavy rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's that line coming through Saturday morning. There's your dry line into Saturday night. You see that front coming through? So we could see some heavy rain Thursday, and there's Thursday rains. Temperatures are going to be nice, though. If you look at dew points for Saturday, and let's just go to the southeast here. Oh, I still got the old mouse. I haven't changed the mouse yet. Click, click, click. All right, here's your Saturday dew points in the 50s. That usually means very comfortable. This is Saturday, and then Sunday, the same. So a little front line coming through. Excited about that. I showed you the rain maps. One more time, let's look at the rain. Just let me do the 24-hour rains. We'll look at 24-hour precip, kind of give you an idea. So here's kind of going through Wednesday, very spotty, but then Thursday is definitely juicy. Thursday is the rainiest day across the southeast right there. That front comes through. And your rains on Friday, Yeah, it's going to be tricky. When does it actually come through? But, you know, Thursday, Friday for the peninsula. Maybe a little bit for everybody else, but it looks like that front tries to pass through Friday afternoon, Friday night. There's your rains on Saturday, and then Sunday, it's pretty much clear. So kind of it could be a rainy Saturday across the peninsula, but everybody else pretty dry on Saturday. There's that. All right, tropics. Let's go tropicaltidbits.com. Gus, good morning. Oh, I don't know if it's going to reach Okeechobee either, Karen. All right. That's the front line, Okeechobee. All right, here's tropics. All right, so we got the Pacific, obviously. So we got this thing called the MJO. The MJO's favorable weather pattern that helps produce tropical activity, usually early season. That's going to be coming into play. But this is basically what the models are showing. Let me just kind of fast forward here a little bit. Now, the latest GFS, I'm just looking at vorticity here. So here's what this was terrible for cruise, but anyway. A little bit of energy here. Let me just go to the range. This is kind of what's been happening. We got a wave that gets pulled up around. Here's the wave on. This is the following week. We're looking at weather the following week that we'll start to see the middle of the end of this week. But there's a wave, high pressure. Things spin around that wave, or high pressure. High pressure is going to be weak a little bit because of this front that's coming through this weekend. So that's going to allow a little bit more curve up. It's stronger high pressure waves continue on sometimes to the Pacific. Because we have this front line coming in, it's going to weaken that high a little bit, and it's going to allow possibly this wave that's going to be starting to come into the picture sometime this week, actually, middle of the end of the week. But basically, it's just a big old juice area, and you can see that the GFS showing that kind of up to the Carolinas, possibly into this is Thursday of next week. Now, the GFS is earlier, the Euro is later. Euro is actually picking up on this little piece right here. So that's what we're going to digest. This is a week from Wednesday. Nothing's showing organized to stress about. It's early season systems usually are big, sloppy, juicy rainmakers. Sometimes they push a lot of winds and rains off to the east side. But we're going to look at all the latest runs here. The latest 00Z GFS was showing kind of getting pulled up into that front line. Pulls it up, big old juicy thing. So that's, this is the following Wednesday, Thursday. You can kind of see it form here, get pulled up. And, a little window of opportunity. Maybe it could go over the Gulf Stream, be a weak tropical low. But that's what the GFS is showing. Euro, let's see what the Euro is showing here. This latest is overnight. 00Z, and that is basically showing you this sloppy mess next Monday. Gets pulled up in more of the Gulf on Wednesday, and then it pulls it around. I think the GFS is usually a little weak on the Bermuda high, so the likelihood is more of a west push with the idea, but the idea is the same. Weak blobby messes next Tuesday. That's the Euro. Gets pulled up. Again, nothing's organized. Weak low pressure. Could be very rainy Wednesday, Thursday across, southeast there possibly. So yeah, that's a legitimate area to kind of watch. There's these rains in yesterday's 12Z, following Wednesday, the 4th. But yeah, see, nothing's really showing organization. The Canadian hub, it's showing you kind of the same thing a little bit. This is, they're all showing the same idea. Low pressure, nothing organized. Icon doesn't really go out that far. So I'm not worried at all But it is definitely going to be interesting. The biggest thing to look at is going to be ensembles. Let's take a look at that. You can also look at some other things I like to look at. Let's look at overall lowering pressures here, the 500 level. You can kind of see just a general weakness. Nothing too strong there. Really not seeing anything to stress about. There's a general low pressure. This is Thursday the 5th next week. On the GFS, that's just kind of showing you the low pressure wrapping around the high. You know, initially, this is next Tuesday. We got a big high pressure here, and whatever, you know, low pressure, whatever, this has been the pattern, goes around that high. Again, nothing to stress about. We're not talking about any name system right now. If it, you know, maybe a weak system, but the good news is nothing's really showing anything yet. GFS operational is obviously to the east, but the Euro or the Ensemble blend here at the 500 level is showing a low pressure more into the Caribbean, kind of like it did yesterday. Euro showing you low pressures up into the Gulf around that high. So that's, you know, that's nothing to stress about. Euro AI showing you general low pressures with that front coming down, and then not really showing anything. So that's that. How about that? So nothing really any more than an area that we could see some sort of low pressure tropical wave that curves up around. So yeah, encouraged by that. Let's take a look at some ensembles from the Euro. There was a few last night that were showing up into the Gulf. There's a few more. Let's see, Gulf of Mexico. Oh, don't say Gulf of Mexico. Still says it right there. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid. But here is the general thinking of a bunch of spaghetti. It's just basically showing you there's a few of the Euro ensembles showing something pulling up and maybe being something. But remember, that's you know, very weak. But I like to look at areas that we're looking at, and this makes sense. So not seeing anything organized to stress about for me on the cruise, you know, but we'll be ready to talk weather if we need to. But there you go. There's that. The glow of the tropical cyclone probability map, which kind of makes it a little easier to look at. You kind of see some confidence. This is following Thursday, Friday. It's a couple days later than the GFS. It makes more sense to be slower because it's going to take time for that front to whizzle out. And usually when you have a front line like that, you get a lot of wind shear. That's why most early season systems have a lot of wind shear that pushes all the moisture off the east coast and stuff. So we got a lot of mornings popping in. Andrea, what's up? Sean, good morning. Jeep in the coast. Where's that at? We're going to be in Panama. So decent little signature there. Tropical storm. Yeah, there's a little bit. This is Friday. This is, you know, a long way away. But, you know, again, just a general idea. Wrapping around that high, sloppy. So, definitely got my eye on it. Euro ensembles are there. Let's look at the GFS ensemble. Sometimes they make a lot more sense than the actual. There's a couple. So, yeah. Yeah. That's all. We should get a new global tropics hazards map. And if they don't show it, then we will keep it our little secret. But we got a new one of those coming out tomorrow, I think. Water temps are hot. We talk about that a lot. I don't know. There you go. So, nothing to stress about. But hey, that's where I got my eye on. Tropical wave. There's a whole bunch of tropical waves out there now. Let's go back here. Alvin was not the one that I was looking at last week. Could be another system. But here's, tropical wave. They happen. Probably this little guy right here. So let's take a look. So there's your tropical wave. So if we were to watch the one that might be the one curving up into the Gulf, would be this little spot here. This little wave here, low pressure. Yeah. Well, the Euro's actually showing a little more organization. Again, this isn't organized, but still is, this is following Wednesday. And if you look at the things like, they call this the ridge. So we want to get an idea how strong that Bermuda high is going to be during that time. And if you look around that time, you can see a pretty decent bubbling here of high pressure. So that is why the Euro is pushing it a little bit more west. But if this is that strong, then whatever, that juice is going to come up into the Gulf. And if it's a sheared system, then you'll have a lot of sloppy rains into Florida next week, if that were to happen. And if we look at a blend of models here, maybe we'll see that already starting to show for midweek next week. Only goes out 10 days. There's a lot of rain down in South Florida, though. And it's about that time frame. Here's your 24-hour rainfall. So, this is the third. You can just see a pretty rainy pattern all the way through all next week. This is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. A lot of rainfall. 10-day map. But that's the rounding of that system. If we look at total rains, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there's a Euro, obviously really highlighting rains in South Florida next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then yesterday's 12Z run, it had it going a little bit more into the Florida Panhandle. So you can just follow the moisture trail, what they're thinking. Tropical wave gets pulled up into the Florida upper Gulf, then it eventually affects the East Coast, it looks like. Middle of next week into the end of next week. So that's what I got my eye on. Is it hype? No, it's not hype. No hype. So there you go. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have a lot to do today. Yeah, no regular daily brews for at least this week. I'm going to play it by ear. We might be able to go live. Shelly, obviously, I'll let her know too, but not tomorrow, but maybe Wednesday from the house, from up there. I'll have to remember to have you call me, though, because it's Central Daylight. Good morning, sir. Hello, Mr. Commissioner. 2017. Holy cow, back in Irma days. But yeah, we might If this thing looks like it could be something, then yeah, we'll do a quickie. And it was daylight at 5 in the morning in Wisconsin. That was the weirdest thing ever. Wisconsin. Anyway. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. You know, we got our concert up in Panama City. I'll be up there for a week, and then we got our big cruise next week, and then we're back to normal in June, pretty much every day. So we'll try to roll at least about 10 o'clock, and I hope you have a nice Memorial Day, and we remember all those that sacrificed so much for all of us to live in the good old USA. I wonder if the Rays are playing today. It'd be kind of fun. Got a 6-hour drive. Hoping the Rays are on. I got to watch the Indy 500 from the airplane. That was pretty neat. Emily's watching softball, and I was watching the race, so pretty cool. Hey, Robert Bowman. How's it going, buddy? Cool. All right. Oh, what time? 7. Oh, they're on at 7. Cool. Well, all right. Well, y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. And that's right, Matt. Nice little American flag there. We will see you later.